Hey guys, I'm Nayoko and this is my Mistweaver PvP guide updated for patch 6.1 season 16. In this guide I'll be covering the basics of Mistweaver in PvP just to help people get started. Let's get down to business. Let me start off by saying that Mistweaver isn't an easy healer to learn. Monk in general is quite difficult to pick up, be it Moonwalker or Brewmaster, and Mistweaver 2 is quite challenging to play. It takes some getting used to in order to feel comfortable with the fast playstyle, so the best advice I can give you is to just work at it. Currently with patch 6.1, Mistweavers have received some changes to their resource management, namely with Mana Tea. It's rough and we've been nerfed, but that being said, stick with it. The Mana Tea change is a nerf in the short term, but will be a buff in the long term when stats from gear increases and scales better. The Monk Dream is real. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down. There is a straightforward way to heal as a Mistweaver, however I wouldn't really call it a rotation as you would with DPS spec. It's simply about using spells to heal and generating chi, and using that chi to heal. Be aware that as a Mistweaver you have to manage two resources, mana and chi. To begin with, let's take a look at the main spells. You have your chi generating spells. These spells don't cost any chi and only use mana. Use these three highlighted spells mostly to build chi. Next, you have your spells that cost chi. You'll mostly be using your chi to use Enveloping Mist, and when the situation calls for it, Touch of Death and Rising Sun Kick. Lastly, you have Soothing Mist. I'll be primarily focusing on Soothing Mist because this spell is an integral part of healing. The most basic way to heal is by channeling Soothing Mist. The idea behind this is quite straightforward. Summon your Jade Serpent statue and begin channeling Soothing Mist to heal. Make sure you always have your Jade Serpent statue nearby because it will also channel Soothing Mist on an allied target. The statue has a 10-second cooldown, so you can reposition it fairly quickly. This method of healing leaves you open to interrupts and silences because you're essentially staying still, so be careful when you do this. Note that the statue can heal through walls and line of sight, so use this to your advantage. Another way to heal is by using a technique called Start-Stop or stuttering. The general idea behind this method is to get near instant cast by using Soothing Mist and then casting either Surging or Enveloping Mist. Firstly, let's take a look at Surging Mist. When cast on its own, it has a cast time just like any other spell. The same applies with Enveloping Mist, which has a cast time and costs 3 chi. But then, when you cast Soothing Mist and then Surging Mist, it becomes instant. Again, the same idea here applies to Enveloping Mist. When you cast Soothing Mist and then cast Enveloping Mist while you're channeling, it becomes instant. This is where a concept called Start, Stop or Stuttering, whatever you want to call it, comes into play. Notice that the global cooldown incurred after casting Soothing Mist is very short, less than a second. You can see this while I'm spamming Soothing Mist and can see the quick refreshes on other spells. This means that you can pull off near instant cast just after you begin channeling Soothing Mist, essentially meaning that you can heal while moving. Let's break it down even further. Here are the steps to pulling off near instant cast heals. Step 1. Begin channeling Soothing Mist. Step 2. Cast Surging Mist immediately after you begin channeling Soothing Mist. Step 3. Stop casting by moving your character. The last step is a precaution to avoid being interrupted and locked out of healing. The abrupt cancelling of your channeling of Soothing Mist is pretty much why the technique is called stutter, because you're stopping suddenly. The result is a near instant cast Surging Mist. This technique can also be applied to Enveloping Mist, just bear in mind though that with Enveloping Mist you need to have stored 3 chi to use it. This technique is great for healing when you're on the run or being trained. It enables you to build chi if you really need it through Surging Mist with less chance of being interrupted. And that's pretty much it when it comes to healing rotation. When it comes to DPSing, again, I wouldn't really call it a rotation that you follow. It's similar to healing in that you build chi and use that chi, except in this case you're using the chi offensively. For burst damage, assuming you take Pull of Mist as per this guide, you have 3 charges of Rising Sun Kick that you can use to dump your chi on. It depends on your gear, but usually it hits for about 20k, which is decent. Most of the offensive abilities are only usable in the crane stance, so get familiar with stances. The exception to this is Touch of Death, which is usable in either stance. Now Touch of Death is your execute ability and costs 2 chi if you're not taking the major glyph. Just to note, you won't be DPSing that often, in fact it's quite rare and mostly done in 2s. Touch of Death is pretty much your only offensive spell to really keep track of. Now we're going to look at stat priority. There are several builds out there, but this is the one I use on both of my monks. It's similar to the previous build pre 6.1 but with a slight difference, now factoring in spirit. Versatility is your best stat. It increases the effectiveness of healing and gives you damage mitigation. Think of it as the old stats of PvP power and resilience combined. Haste is your next best stat. It makes channeling Soothing Mist faster and more efficient. Soothing Mist heals for a lot, so all the haste you can get helps. Spirit is your next best stat after haste. Pre 6.1 we didn't need to get any spirit at all because Mana Tea returned 4% of mana per stack. With the changes to Mana Tea however, we now need to factor in spirit. Mana Assault when drinking Mana Tea is equal to 3 times your unbuffed spirit. There's not much spirit you can get from the PvP gear, so I'd recommend getting accessories with spirit on them, which means your necklace, cloak, and rings. Get as much or as little spirit as you feel you need. This is just a guide, so retune to this based on your own personal preference and performance. After spirit, you have multi-strike and crit. They are prioritized fairly low on the spectrum because they are only half as useful in a PvP setting. With that being said, they are still useful to get. Multi-strike tends to give more free charges of Renewing Mist, as outlined in the Jade Mist tooltip. Crit tends to give more charges of Mana Tea, as outlined in the Mana Tea tooltip. Get whatever you prefer. Lastly, you have Mastery. Try not to get any Mastery if you can help it. What Mastery does is that it gives you a chance to summon a healing sphere. In a nutshell, it's just too random, and in PvP you need to be healing on demand. Let's quickly look at gearing and enchants. In terms of gear, definitely buy 4 pieces for the set bonus and 1 piece using Ashrine Rep. The reason being is that the Ashrine Rep gear will come with versatility. For your enchants, I'd recommend getting versatility on all. That means your necklace, cloak, and rings. For your weapon enchant, I'd get either Mark of Warsong, which is the haste enchant, or Mark of Shadowmoon, the spirit enchant. Now bear in mind that the Mana Tea is only affected by your unbuffed spirit as outlined in the tooltip. The spirit enchant wouldn't help in that regard of returning more mana per stack, so I'd go with Mark of Warsong, but again, as this is just a guide, feel free to pick whatever one you prefer. In this section, I'll be talking about talents. For the first tier of talents, I'd recommend getting either Celerity or Tiger's Lust. Celerity is a great quality of life talent. It reduces the cooldown of Roll Dodge Torpedo and increases the maximum charges by 1. It makes life easier to outrun, kite, and veer around corners and pillars. This talent is particularly useful now in the current meta of melee training healers into the ground. The other recommended option in this tier is Tiger's Lust. It's a very versatile talent in that it can be used on yourself or a party or raid member. Note that this talent does not provide immunity to roots and snares. Essentially this means that they can be reapplied while the buff is still in effect. This talent works well to support melee, for example if you're running with a Death Knight or a warrior, who can easily be slowed and kited. For the second tier of talents, I'd recommend getting either Chi Wave or Zen Sphere. Chi Wave is a good choice overall. It has a short cooldown with no mana cost, making it easy to use. It simply bounces on its own accord. Take this if the enemy team has no reliable purge ability. The other recommended option is Zen Sphere. Now Zen Sphere is our purge protection ability. Our best healing spell currently is Enveloping Mist with the PvP set bonus, so you want for it to take as long as it can. Unlike Rosy Druids, we don't have a billion hots to cover our Enveloping Mist. Take this if the enemy team has a purge ability. I'll show you what I mean. Here I apply Renewing Mist followed by Zen Sphere and finally Enveloping Mist last. It takes a Death Knight 3 anti-touch purges in order to remove Enveloping Mist, and by then it's already ticked for quite a while. From testing this consecutively, it doesn't always seem to work as intended with the purging order, so it's not guaranteed, but still try it. For the third tier of talents, I'd recommend getting Chi Brew. It's a versatile talent overall because it can be used offensively, defensively for healing, and like a boss to secure a kill using Touch of Death. Try to keep at least 1 charge of Chi Brew available or near recharge, and manage your Chi around that just in case. The other talents in this tier are useful, however they pale in comparison to the more versatile nature of Chi Brew, as you can use it for just about anything. For the fourth tier of talents, I'd recommend getting either Charging Ox Wave or Leg Sweep. Charging Ox Wave is a ranged stun. Note that this ability stuns in a straight line, so use this to your advantage in places like Blades Edge Arena with the bridge, or in Wilson Gulch inside the tunnel. Take this if you can't really push out from the pillar because it's a ranged spell. Leg Sweep on the other hand is a close range stun. You need to be stacking on your enemies. It has a 5-second stun which is longer than Charging Ox Wave but has a longer cooldown. Note that this ability can be dodged or parried, so try to leg sweep from behind. For the 5th tier talents, I'd recommend getting either Healing Elixirs or Diffuse Magic. Healing Elixirs is an overall good choice. It can be used while stunned automatically as it's a passive effect, or it can be used in conjunction with drinking either Chi Brew or Mana Tea stacks for a heal on demand. Diffuse Magic is just great against casters and mitigating magic damage in general. For the 6th tier of talents, I'd recommend getting either the Cat or Chi Torpedo. The Cat is great for cleaves like TSG or Turbo Cleave, where CC, excluding paralysis, doesn't break on damage. The Cat does AoE damage and healing, so be careful when you use this and which comp you run. The other recommended option is Chi Torpedo. It's a great quality of life talent, often taken with celerity. It improves your rolls by giving it a small heal and increases the distance to which you roll. The added distance is nearly an extra roll, so you can reach corners and pillars easier. For the last tier of talents, I'd recommend getting Pool of Mists. It's a versatile talent overall. It gives you more charges of Renewing Mist, which means more chi, and damage-wise, it increases the damage of your Rising Sun Kick ability. It also gives you more charges of Rising Sun Kicks. Now let's take a look at major glyphs. Life Cocoon is your most important glyph. It allows you to use Life Cocoon while stunned or frozen. More importantly, it enables you to preemptively bubble yourself or your teammate. For example, against comps with the mage, they will sometimes catch you in a deep freeze and will follow up with Chain CC using Polymorph or by their partner. Life Cocoon is pretty much your only mandatory glyph. Feel free to fill in the rest of your remaining glyph slots with these next glyphs based on what you need. Zen Focus is your Aura Mastery glyph. It grants Silence and Interrupt immunity for 5 seconds after using Thunder Focus T. If you are confident in juking, you don't have to take this glyph. Feel free to substitute it for another. Glyph of Freedom Roller is another good glyph to take. It removes snares when you use Roller to Torpedo, so it's great to take against heavy melee comps prevalent in the current meta. Glyph of Paralysis is also a good glyph to take. It enables your paralysis to remove dots on your enemy target. This is useful if you need a more reliable form of CC, in which your paralysis would otherwise break from dots. Transcendence is also a good glyph. It reduces the cooldown of Transcendence transfer by 5 seconds, so teleport is now 20 seconds instead of 25. This is great for maps where teleporting is everything, particularly in cramped maps like Dalaran Sewers and Ruins of Lordaeron. When it comes to minor glyphs, they're mostly cosmetic, so there aren't any mandatory glyphs in this section. Nonetheless, I would suggest getting these glyphs pertaining to RBGs and BGs. Water Roll allows you to roll over water. This is great for certain maps like Battlefield Ganaeus near Waterworks, Arthur Basin near Blacksmith, and Twin Peaks near the tunnel with water. It makes peeling off far more efficient in an event where you have to move quickly. Spirit Roll is also a good minor glyph to take. It allows you to roll while dead. This is great in cases where you need to move faster to your corpse in order to body res. Zen Flight is just an awesome glyph all around. It gives you the ability to fly in a cloud. I mean, look, if that doesn't make you moist, I don't know what does. I'm just going to wrap up this guide with some general tips. The first tip I'm going to give you is in regards to cooldowns. You want to cycle through your cooldowns by spacing them out. You also want to keep track of the enemy team's cooldowns and abilities so you can be preemptive and react accordingly. This requires some general knowledge about other classes. Plan out for when you know winter is coming. For example, combat rogues tend to build up their damage insight buff before stun locking and then using Killing Spree. You want to make sure that you have something when that happens, like Life Cocoon. The second tip is about Transcendence. Now Transcendence, along with Life Cocoon, can make or break monks. Remember that Transcendence is similar yet ultimately different to Warlock's Demonic Circle Teleport. When Warlocks use Teleport, they transfer to the circle to which they placed earlier. Let's hypothetically say that the Warlock doesn't move the circle. Every teleport from there on will transfer them to the same spot. Monk's Transcendence is different in that the monk's body and spirit swap places. You need to recast Transcendence to prepare for your next teleport, otherwise you'll be caught out in the open. There's nothing worse than thinking you have reprieve by teleporting, only to be caught out in a bad, open spot. Transcendence also comes in handy in RBGs and BGs. In this BG I've already placed my Transcendence near orange on the upper level. From my BG targets you can see that the hunter holding orange is about to drop. I head over to orange, use Transcendence transfer and pick up the orb quickly. The third tip is about revival. Take advantage of the 100-yard range of revival so you can use it when someone is trapped in a smoke bomb, if you're peeling to help defend a base setter in an RBG, or when someone is behind a box and line of sighting you. The last tip is about stances. Note that when you revert stances, changing to Stance of the Wise Serpent from Stance of the Spirited Crane, you lose most of your accumulated chi. The general rule of thumb is to build chi in the Serpent stance before switching to Crane stance if you're going to DPS, and then dumping your chi then. And that brings us to the end of this guide. I hope you enjoyed this video and got something out of it. Feel free to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below so I know that this made you moist. In all seriousness though, it will help me know if this video was helpful and if you want more videos. Thanks for watching babes. Take care.